Three-way switches are perceived as difficult to wire for a few reasons. Firstly, there are multiple wires. Three-way switches involve more wires than single-pole switches, which makes keeping track of each wire's destination more challenging. Secondly, different types of wires are involved. Three-way circuits require different types of wires, including travelers, hot wires, and neutral wires. This variety can be confusing, especially for those with less experience. Thirdly, wire colors may vary. The color coding of wires in three-way switch circuits isn't always consistent. Variations depend on local electrical codes and the specific switch model being used. This inconsistency can add to the difficulty in correctly identifying each wire's function. Fourthly, understanding electrical circuits is key. Wiring three-way switches successfully demands a basic grasp of electrical circuits, including how to identify the hot wire, the neutral wire, and the ground wire. Fifthly, it can be time-consuming. Wiring three-way switches can be time-consuming, particularly for inexperienced individuals. It may take several attempts to achieve the correct wiring configuration. Due to these factors, connecting three-way switches is typically viewed as a more demanding task than wiring single-pole switches. It is advisable for those with limited experience to seek guidance from a qualified electrician for assistance with wiring three-way switches. Proper identification of each wire is crucial for a safe and functional three-way switch setup. The common wires are the hot wire, which brings power to the switch, the neutral wire, which provides a return path for the current, the ground wire, which is a safety wire that helps to protect against electrical shock, and the traveler wires, which carry the current between the two three-way switches. When working with electrical wiring, always prioritize safety. Ensure the power is turned off at the circuit breaker before commencing any work. Use appropriate safety gear, such as insulated gloves and eye protection. If you are uncertain about any aspect of the wiring process, it is always best to consult with a qualified electrician. A three-way switch is used to control a light fixture from two different locations. It's a common setup in hallways, staircases, and large rooms where you want to be able to turn a light on and off from either end. The key components are two three-way switches and the wiring that connects them to the light fixture and the power source. The wiring configuration is what often causes confusion. Unlike a standard single-pole switch which simply interrupts the hot wire, a three-way switch uses traveler wires to toggle the circuit between two different paths. These traveler wires are what allow you to control the light from either switch. Understanding the concept of traveler wires is essential for troubleshooting and wiring three-way switches. They act as a bridge between the two switches, allowing the electricity to flow to the light fixture regardless of the position of either switch. One common mistake is misidentifying the common terminal on the three-way switch. The common terminal is the one that is connected to either the hot wire from the power source or the wire that goes to the light fixture. It's usually a different color than the other terminals, often black or dark colored. Incorrectly wiring the common terminal will prevent the circuit from working properly. Another mistake is mixing up the traveler wires. The traveler wires should be connected to the traveler terminals on both switches. If they are crossed, the circuit will not function as intended. It's helpful to use a multimeter to test the continuity of the wires and ensure they are connected correctly. When troubleshooting a three-way switch circuit, start by checking the power source. Make sure the circuit breaker is turned on and that there is power coming to the first switch. Then check the wiring at both switches to ensure that all connections are secure and that the wires are connected to the correct terminals. If the light fixture is not working, test the bulb to make sure it is not burned out. If you are still having trouble, it's best to call a qualified electrician to diagnose and repair the problem. They have the experience and tools to safely and efficiently troubleshoot electrical circuits. Three-way switches are a valuable addition to any home, providing convenience and flexibility in controlling lighting. While the wiring may seem complicated at first, with a little understanding and careful attention to detail, anyone can learn how to wire them correctly. Remember to always prioritize safety and consult with a professional if you are unsure about any aspect of the wiring process. In addition to the basic three-way switch setup, there are also variations that allow you to control a light fixture from more than two locations. These are known as four-way switch circuits, and they involve adding one or more four-way switches between the two three-way switches. A four-way switch has four terminals, and it essentially reverses the connections between the traveler wires. This allows you to add an unlimited number of control points to the circuit. Wiring a four-way switch circuit can be even more challenging than wiring a three-way switch circuit, so it's important to have a good understanding of electrical circuits before attempting this type of project. Always refer to a wiring diagram and follow the instructions carefully. When working with electrical wiring, it's important to be aware of the National Electrical Code, also known as NEC. The NEC sets the standards for safe electrical installations in the United States. It covers everything from wire sizes and types to grounding and overcurrent protection. Local electrical codes may also have additional requirements that you need to follow. It's important to check with your local building department to make sure you are complying with all applicable codes. One important aspect of electrical wiring is grounding. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, which helps to protect against electrical shock. All electrical circuits should be properly grounded, including three-way switch circuits. The ground wire should be connected to the ground terminal on the switch and to the metal box that houses the switch. When choosing wire for a three-way switch circuit, it's important to select the correct size and type of wire. The size of the wire depends on the amperage of the circuit. The NEC specifies the minimum wire size for different amperage ratings. The type of wire depends on the application. For example, you would typically use non-metallic sheath cable, also known as NM cable, for residential wiring. NM cable consists of two or more insulated conductors wrapped in a plastic sheath. When making connections, it's important to use the correct type of connectors. Wire connectors, also known as wire nuts, are used to join two or more wires together. They should be sized correctly for the number and size of wires being connected. It's important to twist the wires together tightly before screwing on the wire connector. This will ensure a good electrical connection. In addition to wire connectors, you may also need to use electrical tape to insulate the connections. Electrical tape is a non-conductive tape that is used to cover exposed wires and connections. It helps to prevent electrical shock and short circuits. When working with electrical wiring, it's important to be organized and methodical. Label all of the wires before disconnecting them. Take pictures of the existing wiring configuration before making any changes. This will help you to put everything back together correctly. Always double-check your work before turning the power back on. Make sure all connections are secure and that there are no exposed wires. If you are unsure about anything, it's best to consult with a qualified electrician. They can help you to safely and efficiently complete your electrical project. Three-way switches are a great way to add convenience and flexibility to your home's lighting system. By understanding the basics of three-way switch wiring and following the safety precautions, you can successfully install and troubleshoot these circuits. Remember to always prioritize safety and consult with a professional if you have any questions or concerns. Understanding the underlying principles of electricity can greatly enhance your ability to work with three-way switches and other electrical circuits. Electricity is the flow of electrons through a conductor. The flow of electrons is driven by a voltage difference, which is measured in volts. The amount of current that flows through a conductor depends on the voltage and the resistance of the conductor. Resistance is measured in ohms. The relationship between voltage, current, and resistance is described by Ohm's law, which states that voltage equals current times resistance, or volts equals amps times ohms. Understanding Ohm's law is essential for calculating the voltage drop in a circuit and for selecting the correct size of wire for a given load. In addition to Ohm's law, there are other important electrical concepts that you should be familiar with, such as power, energy, and impedance. Power is the rate at which energy is transferred. It is measured in watts. Energy is the ability to do work. It is measured in joules. Impedance is the opposition to the flow of alternating current. It is measured in ohms. Understanding these concepts will help you to troubleshoot electrical circuits and to design safe and efficient electrical systems. When working with electrical wiring, it's important to be aware of the different types of electrical circuits. There are two main types of electrical circuits: series circuits and parallel circuits. In a series circuit, the components are connected in a single path. The current is the same through all of the components in a series circuit. In a parallel circuit, the components are connected in multiple paths. The voltage is the same across all of the components in a parallel circuit. Understanding the difference between series and parallel circuits is important for troubleshooting electrical circuits and for designing electrical systems. When working with three-way switches, it's important to understand how they are connected in the circuit. Three-way switches are connected in a series parallel circuit. The two three-way switches are connected in series with each other, and the light fixture is connected in parallel with the two three-way switches. This configuration allows you to control the light fixture from two different locations. In addition to understanding the electrical concepts and the different types of electrical circuits, it's also important to be familiar with the different types of electrical components. Some of the most common electrical components include resistors, capacitors, inductors, and transformers. Resistors are used to limit the flow of current in a circuit. Capacitors are used to store electrical energy. Inductors are used to store magnetic energy. Transformers are used to change the voltage of an alternating current. Understanding the function of these components will help you to troubleshoot electrical circuits and to design electrical systems. When working with electrical wiring, it's important to have the right tools. Some of the essential tools for electrical work include wire strippers, pliers, screwdrivers, a multimeter, and a voltage tester. Wire strippers are used to remove the insulation from wires. Pliers are used to grip and bend wires. Screwdrivers are used to tighten and loosen screws. A multimeter is used to measure voltage, current, and resistance. A voltage tester is used to check for the presence of voltage. Having the right tools will make your electrical work easier and safer. When working with electrical wiring, it's important to follow the safety precautions. Always turn off the power at the circuit breaker before working on any electrical circuit. Wear insulated gloves and eye protection. Never work on electrical wiring in wet conditions. If you are unsure about anything, consult with a qualified electrician. By following these safety precautions, you can minimize the risk of electrical shock and other injuries.